alaikum and welcome to Titli's Busy Kitchen with me, Titli Nihan. You know, if I had $1 for everybody who's asked me to show them how to make baklava, I'd have about $6 by now. So to get these people off my back, let's make some baklava. Da-dum, da-dum, da-da-da-da-da. Now there are many recipes for baklava and this is just one of them. I've got 125 grams of unsalted pistachios, 125 grams of walnuts, 100 grams of sliced almonds, a quarter of a cup or 55 grams of sugar. This happens to be light brown sugar, but you could use any sugar you want, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and these are optional spices for which you can add none, some or all. I've got a quarter of a teaspoon each of allspice, mace, ground cloves and nutmeg. I've put 2 tablespoons of the pistachios into a coffee grinder and I'm just going to grind them fairly coarsely. And what I've made here is a garnish sprinkle for the baklava. I've added the remaining nuts, the sugar and the spices into my whizzy toy. Pop on the lid and process to a coarse paste. Okay, you can see it's fairly coarse. There's still 1 or 2 big bits of nut in it, but don't worry about those. Under this clean tea towel, I've unwrapped a 500 gram pack of Phyllo pastry. And this is just to stop it from drying out. As you can see, it's very thin sheets. It tears quite easily, so you have to handle it with care. I've got a baking tray here which is 18 by 28 centimetres and I've got about 180 grams of melted butter, and with a pastry brush I'm just going to brush the inside of the pan to begin with. Now that I've buttered the pan, I'll take one of the baklava sheets, which is actually bigger than the pan, and I'll just rest it in. Now brush with butter, then fold back over the remaining amount of pastry and brush with butter. Now I'm going to repeat this process with another 4 complete sheets of Phyllo pastry. This is my 5th and final sheet of Phyllo. If you get any bubbles in the Phyllo, don't worry, just brush them to the edge, they'll soon come out. Okay, now I'm just going to trim away the excess pastry with a knife just to make it look a little bit neater. Wonderful! Now I'll spoon on a layer of the nuts. I've used about half the nut mixture, spread it all around nice and evenly. Then apply another 2 entire sheets of pastry onto the nuts. And butter well. So I've used another 2 complete sheets of Phyllo pastry and I'll trim again. Then add on the remaining nuts. Spread them out evenly and press them down well. And use another 4 complete sheets to make 8 layers on the top. So I've used another 4 complete sheets to make 8 layers of pastry. In case you haven't already worked it out, making baklava is not a 5-minute job. So I've got 10 layers of pastry, a layer of nuts, 4 layers of pastry, a layer of nuts and 8 layers of pastry. Now I'm going to score through the top layer to create the shapes with a very sharp knife. You're not cutting all the way through to the bottom, just to the first layer of nuts. And just give it a final brush with butter. Now this is going to go into an oven at 180 degrees C for about 30 minutes. While the baklava is cooking, I need to make the syrup, so I've added 1 cup or 250 ml of water into a pan. I'll add in 3/4 of a cup or 165 grams of sugar, the juice of a lemon and 375 grams of honey. bring it to the boil. When it comes to the boil, turn the heat right down and allow it to simmer gently for about 20 minutes to thicken it up. After 20 minutes, your kitchen should be filled with the smell of honey. Turn off the heat and allow the syrup to cool. After 30 minutes, remove from the oven. Cover with a piece of aluminium foil. Now this will go into the oven for another 20 minutes. After 20 more minutes, remove from the oven and remove the foil. Now carefully pour on the cold syrup. If it looks like the baklava's getting a bit flooded, just stop pouring. You may end up with some of syrup left, but that's fine. Now I'll leave this to cool completely. After a couple of hours it's cooled, all the liquid has been absorbed. Now all I have to do is cut down the pre-scores to cut it into pieces and remove them from the tray. If you think your bottom is too soggy, place the baklava around the outside of a plate with a raised edge and leave them for a couple of hours. Any excess syrup will drain off and you'll be left with a nice sticky bottom. Sprinkle with the ground pistachios and serve. You know, making baklava isn't a 5-minute job, but what really gets you is all the dancing in the middle. Join me next time in Titli's Busy Kitchen with me, Titli Yarn. Till next time, Huda Hafiz.